my first session. This would be my first session in such a high forum. And thank you to all the admins and especially Unisa to give me this opportunity. And I also thank Mr. Praveen Jain and Vishal Jain in assisting me in doing so. I'll start with the topic now. So today's topic that I intend to cover is the preconditions in GST, that is section 16.1 and 16.2. So section 16.1 and 16.2, section 16 lays down the criteria for eligibility of the ITC to be availed. So only if section 16 is satisfied, the ITC can be availed. So first topic that comes in 16.1 is a person should be a registered person. So the first case study that I have is regarding uh, a person being registered. So the importance of the person being registered. Just yeah. Mr. Unfortunate, an unregistered small dealer, due to his fortune, his turnover during the financial year has exceeded rupees 20 lakhs on 25th of November. He has made an application for registration on 10th of December. The proper officer has issued a notice asking him to upload the latest property tax receipt and a photo of him in the business place with the geocode. Mr. Unfortunate, within the time limit, uploaded his photo with latest EB that since and also mentioned that since his landlord is not in town, he is not able to produce the property tax receipt. So later, what happened is, unfortunately, the proper officer has rejected the application on 27th of December on the grounds that uh, the property tax receipt is not been uploaded. Mr. Unfortunate, in hopes of getting registered with effect from 25th November, had purchased a stock worth rupees 70 lakhs, and he has sold it before 27th of December as well. So what he wants to know is what will be the eligibility of the uh, purchases that he has made during the process of registration, and whether his registration will be granted from 25th of November. So when uh, uh, talking about this, there is a case law which says that there is the law requires only one proof of ownership and not more. So once the proof of ownership is produced, it is not with the assessing officer to deny the registration. So in that analogy, the rejection by the proper officer seems to be invalid. And if members have any other opinion, you can kindly share.
Srini, can you come again? What did you say? Your view on this?
If my view is like maybe Mr. Unfortunate can approach the writ court and seek for set aside of order passed by the officer to grant registration, and maybe if the effective date of registration is granted from 25th of November, then he can uh, proceed to claim the ITC on the purchase during the period.
But what happens if he continues to get registration on 27 December? What would be the challenge?
If he continues, then the application is done after 30 days. The system automatically has a cutoff date where if it is applied after 30 days, then what it will do, the effective date of grant of registration will be the date of grant of registration. So
Okay,
in that case, he will be denied with the ITC benefit, right?
but
Because
he
he
has the
doesn't have the
50,000.
closing stock of those purchases as well.
18(1) permits him to take the credit, right?
18(1) permits him to take the credit uh, of the closing stock that is available on the day before the effective date of registration.
Correct.
So
So the
since he
effective
has
date of,
sold the materials,
pardon me?
he has sold the materials before 27th of December.
So if material is sold before 27 December and turnover is sub 40 lakhs, so GST would also not be applicable to that sales, no? Should he need to be worried about it?
The worth of the goods purchased is 70 lakhs. So it is assumed that he has crossed the threshold limit.
Okay, let's say that entire 70 lakhs has also been sold.
Yes. The entire 70 lakhs is also, the entire 70 lakhs has been sold.
Okay. So you are saying only the writ is the alternative, but nevertheless, I am not finding. Okay, so you are saying 16(1) to be read as. Hmm.
Because it says registered person and not a taxable person. So it denies the ITC of a registered person as well. And since the provisions are placed in such a way that only the ITC that is which is there on the closing stock a day before the grant of registration, there will be a issue in availing this ITC, but the full liability which will be required to be paid. So that's the issue.
Okay.
And one more question that I have is whether even if High Court is passing such an order, is it possible for the courts to grant registration with effect from 25th November?
Court can definitely say. I don't see any issue because court has all the things. They can say 3 weeks can be revised. They can say anything.
Okay.
Court will not be biased with the ability or not ability of the system.
Okay. Yes. So there's a inability of the system, and I have another doubt where even in case where I get registration on time, say the officer has granted me registration on 15th of December, and I have purchased my stock on November. So here the my supplier will not be able to upload the documents on his GSTR1. So I will not be receiving the credit in GSTR2B as well. So here, how can we claim those credit, which even if it is granted on time?
So if the registration is granted on time,
Yeah.
the 18(1) can be used then because whatever is the stock held on the date he is liable to pay tax, because 18(1) is not from the date of registration. Because he is going to issue a revised tax invoice under section 40. So the
Okay.
liability is dated to the registration date. Even
Yes.
ITC is also, he will be eligible.
Okay, so I mean, in that context, this is a purchase after he gets liable to be registered. So the provision is silent about the stock, which is I mean, it is not silent, but again, there is no clarity in regarding how he can avail the credit of stock which is
No, no. See, when you are saying that within 30 days, then the effective date of registration will be whatever is the date which he is seeking for,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes,
So
sir.
after that date, every supplier can upload. So basically, which means the purchases subsequent to the application of registration till the grant of registration. Okay.
Yes.
The registration will be granted with the retrospective date. So the
Yes, sir.
suppliers can all amend their purchases and update GSTR to be, that is, there is no issue.
Yeah.
See any conflict in 18.1 when the registration is issued within the time.
Okay.
Because on the date when you got the registration, the stock that is held, you can take under 18.1. Subsequent purchases, you can request your suppliers to amend. The only thing is
Okay.
someone whose registration itself is granted after 30 days, like say, let's say after 2 months, 3 months, is where could be a little issue.
Okay.
Sir, here maybe one more angle to view it. The person is liable for registration and he has applied for registration within 30 days. Then his effective date of registration will be the date on which he was liable to be registered. So in this case, when he initially applied his first registration, he made his application within 30 days. Now, if that registration was granted, there was no issue, sir. His effective date of registration would have been 25th of November itself. So in such a case, whatever 18.1 also will be able to satisfy, he can also issue revised tax invoices. But now in this case, he applied for registration within 30 days, which was rejected. Maybe the grounds of rejection, challenging that is a separate issue, sir. But that application got rejected. Now when the subsequent fresh registration was made, now that is not made within a period of 30 days. That is made after a period of 30 days on which he was liable to be registered. So in such a case, the effective date of registration will be the date of grant of registration. So when it is date of grant of registration, whatever is the purchase which is made from the date on which he was liable to be registered till the date of grant of registration, he is an unregistered person technically. So those inward supplies, how will he be able to take the credit?
Exactly.
Can we apply this 18.2? I don't know, but it is also using a registered person. It says a registered person shall not be entitled to take ITC under 18.1 in respect of supply of goods or services after the expiry of 1 year. So can we look into those purchases prior to this registration where he can take the credit because the time limit of 1 year is given and it is still within 1 year. So can we apply that 18.2 because that is referring to 18.1 itself? Where you can go for voluntarily this compulsory registration or voluntary registration. Can we look that aspect also in this case? Because there is, as such, there is no clarity in that case because you have applied for registration, but because of procedural issues, you are not able to get that registration. And again, you have applied, but you are still with the, you've already made an application. So can we not look into that aspect also?
The
No,
problem with that provision is we don't have the closing stock, prior to the registration. It is already been sold and liability has to be discharged.
Okay, but Srini, when we are applying for the second time,
Yeah,
so are we not mentioning that the date of liability is from the earlier date when
that we will be mentioning, sir. But since it is above 30 days, the grant of registration will be the
Right.
date of grant of registration. The effective date of registration will be the date of grant of registration.
Right.
So can we not read now 18.1 as on a kind of an inclusive, whenever the registration got extended, I will include that stock also, which has been purchased and sold between the liability date to the registration date. Of course, we are now entering more into the domain of section 18, the other speaker, but yeah.
Sir, in that context, sir, 18.1 reads that he is liable to be registered and has been granted such registration.
Yes, both and is there, yes. So
if
that
it
is
was only restricted to liable to be registered and he has applied, then the things become more easier, sir. Since he should apply and also he should be granted.
In my opinion, hello.
हाँ जी
Yes.
बोलिए.
Yes. It would
Yes.
be better that in such cases, appeal is filed against the rejection of the registration application. Because
that also-
the law is pretty clear, and when the initial draft was released, not draft, but the initial
Model law.
way about for GST were released in 2015, it was pretty clear that any registration application applied after 30 days, then ITC would not be available on the stocks which were lying. So it would be better that what I can see in the given case also, and what generally happens, that opportunity of being heard in personal hearing is not granted, and that would be a valid cause for taking the appeal route, because any other ways we would be challenging the law, which is pretty clear in its, what it is saying.
Right. But appeal route can be taken only after the first rejection is happening.
Yes,
Here
yes.
if-
First
here
registration
if
is
the- If the client comes after the second registration, then there are no solutions as of now.
no, we can still go for appeal for the first, because it was wrong. Merely because I have applied for the second registration does not mean that I have lost the right to appeal for the against the incorrect cancellation, rejection of the application.
No, but once I've got the registration, second registration, So-
If I have got the second registration, then the route is closed.
I
Sir,
have a
in this
different
case, if
question.
we are preferring an appeal, let's
Yes.
suppose the thing is we are waiting for we file an appeal and we don't file a second registration. We don't
Right.
make an application second time. Then in the meanwhile, his entire business is in a standstill, sir, till the outcome of appeal.
Yes,
comes.
we can make an early hearing application in case of appeal, and if it is not decided, we
Yeah,
can
that's
make
what we are
a
doing. That's what we are doing. Early petition, early hearing petition is being filed. And all these registration appeals, no, at least in West Bengal, Odisha, Tripura, some of the states, they are given preference. I have got hearing dates within 7 days also.
Okay.
Okay.
So one of the routes is that once you file an appeal for registration, or I think even for revocation matters also now, they are requesting for, filing an early petition application ekdam saath together.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it is prejudice to me, because I'm getting prejudiced because of stoppage of my business. So because of that, we are requesting.
So, and practically what happens, sir, like just to understand, if the appeal is decided in the favor of the applicant, the registration, does the system take the effective date of registration as
Yes, from the
25th
date of your
November in this
liability.
case?
The date when you incurred the liability.
Okay, okay. The portal is updated to that extent.
Yes. And in this case, I'll say, at least in the case of new registration, our success rate is high for all, taxpayers. Because most of the most of the registrations are cancelled on flimsy ground. That affidavit is not submitted, or maybe, that municipal tax receipt is not clear, or I didn't find person when I went for inspection. So all these grounds, the appellate authorities, they take cognizance very early. And normally I've seen that they give registrations on this. Venuji wants to add something. Yeah. Venuji.
Not to add, but to complicate. Now, there is a case where manufacturing entity held his product as exempt supply and has not taken the registration. 4 years later, now it is held as a taxable supply.
Yes, good issue. Yes.
Now the registration is suo motu given by the department.
Yes.
Right now, what we are doing is this extension of 1 month registration. Now I'm extending it to 4 years later. So SSC has not taken any credit of input or input services during the course of the business which happened so far.
Right.
So what would the fate for that credits?
The advance ruling mechanism was already there for the SSC to clearly be vigilant and file for application for whether it is exempt or not. So he has to suffer his own consequences.
And unfortunately, unlike Central Excise, here we don't have that benefit of saying that if I've availed the credit in my books, I can also avail it in my, while paying my taxes. In Central Excise, at least there are few decisions which are in favor of the taxpayer. But in GST till now, no such jurisprudence has evolved. RPG, your view, or any other members, your view on this? Because this is what Venuji has shared, no? This is a issue which is being cropped up now, which we are
Yes,
actually getting in.
this issue is coming in many matters, and it is yet to be
Yeah, now
finally
it's coming in.
what would happen in such cases wherein a liability occurs 2 years down the line and credit has not been availed.
Yes.
It is not yet
Because
decided
in one
by
of our,
not before the courts, whatever decision which have been reported.
yeah, no, yeah, there are no decisions, right?
Yes, sir.
I
We will
have a
always
case that is
claim that
pending before the
ITC should be
Supreme Court on
available.
this.
We will always claim that ITC should be available, but it is yet to be seen that how the courts interpret.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. So
Okay, so over to Srini. Sriniji, over to you.
yes, sir. So in my view as well, the proper channel would be an appeal, either to the appellate authority or through a writ, and get it settled on the first registration itself. If we had applied for a fresh registration and it has granted, then that might become a little problematic. It will add more complications. Yes. So I'm moving to the next case study. Yes. Mr. Green, a spiritualist, nature lover, and industrialist, has a large garden in the estate of his industry, which was planned for maintaining a calm environment around the industry, and also for the satisfaction of the satisfaction that it would compensate the carbon emission of this industry, though there is no legal obligation to do so. For every possible occasion, he conducts a puja rituals, which is intended to thanking the God for the prosperity of this industry that it has gained, and for aspiration of further growth and wellness of his employees. He also provides food for his employees in the factory canteen free of cost. Also provides medicines in case if there is any sickness among the employees. He also provides staff quarters along with gym and recreation to his employee for free of cost. Mr. Athis, the jurisdictional officer, has issued a show cause notice for reversal of ITC on maintenance of garden and conducting puja. He has listed the following expenditures are not in course or furtherance of the business, where he claims the maintenance of the road access to the gardens, tools which are used to maintain the garden, ghee which is used in the puja, decoration expenses, other expenses relating to the staff quarters and staff quarters, gym and recreation hall, ITC on staff uniform, ITC on gas used in staff canteen, and purchase of medicine. All these items he intends to say that it is not eligible, and the ITC reversal has to be done. So Mr. Green wants to know the validity of the atheist claim regarding the above case. So in this case, we have a precedent judgment of Supreme Court in terms of Income Tax Act, Shahzada and Sons, where it was held that the temple, which is built inside the factory premises for the employees to do their spiritual duty or so, it is not eligible as it is not in in nature of a business expenditure. Moreover, it is a personal related, like spiritual belief related expenditure, so the expenditure is not allowed. The same analogy has been taken in ARR of Tata Motors of Maharashtra, where they have said puja expenses cannot be claimed as a cannot be claimed as it is in course of furtherance of business. Any views regarding this to the among the members?
See, should we not dealing the income tax judgment versus GST judgment, because the definition of business 2 subsection 17 is not the same definition of business under Income Tax Act.
Yes.
If there is a reference of Income Tax Act, could be a different.
Yes, sir. Agreed, sir. But even in GST angle, can it be called as in course of furtherance of business?
Anything done by the business, isn't it in the course of furtherance of the business?
Agreed, sir. I mean, to play at the opposite side, what kind of argument that the department can bring in, and since we have a AR which says that this is not in course of furtherance of business.
Which AR is that?
Tata Motors, Maharashtra.
They have denied under 17.5 or they have denied under 16.1?
16.1, sir.
Okay.
They are denied under 16.1.
Let me go through the wordings once again and come back. But I don't see any reason why expenditure of the business cannot be meant for business.
Agreed, sir. They maybe where if there is an argument where which the department places where this is done to exhaust the spiritual belief of the assessee and not for the growth of the business. If the growth of the business is not related to such spiritual belief.
But again, it's a far-fetched like business is growing based on the faith and belief of the businessman.
Yes.
So if
exactly.
the outward is trusted, why inward cannot be trusted?
Yes.
But
I
again,
am the one who's
this
driving
is
the
on a
business.
weaker.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Arupji, go ahead.
Footing, then even not run. So maybe department is taking that view. Like in one of the service tax matters also, it was there that roads constructed for the internal complex. I'm saying internal that complex of the oil marketing company, that was not allowed based on that. That this particular road will be used only by your employees. It is not a public road. So that's why the credit was not allowed. So similarly
No,
here, I
then,
think
no, Arupji, see, my question is, are we disallowing under 17.5B as personal consumption?
no.
Or are
No,
you
he's blocking
disallowing under 16.1 itself as
16.1
for
itself.
business?
It is blocking under the because it's not fulfilling the condition of for furtherance of business.
See,
Because what
MD chair is meant to be set only by managing director. No public will be allowed, not even another employees.
right?
There could be a logic saying that this is used only for this. Cannot be for business.
No, only for MD chair he's saying out.
No, assuming I'm asking a chair of an MD, chair of an employee is permitted only that employee to sit.
Right.
Can we say that it is only used by that employee, so it is not for business? Is it right to go that path of argument?
No. I think that is not gone. But here the
No, when the
argument
road is meant for employees to come to the office and use it. Employees are for business, so isn't it
the gym you're
saying that not for business?
The gym you're saying, no gym. No, gym is already disputed in many cases. I'm already fighting for one of the corporates. But
So
even
when you're disputing, you are of the view that it is for business.
No. I'm of the view, because my client is an IT company, and after COVID, they have had around 4 suicides in the company. So there is a lot of mental trauma for the employees because of whatever reason. So the company has gone ahead and they have set up a gym, and they have spent a lot of money on the gym. So we have taken the ITC, but because of that 2A matching, from 2A they saw the HSN, and they found that these are all gym materials. So they have sent us a notice saying that you will not get credit for this along with that motor car and some spare parts and all, because some spare parts in gym, they are similar to spare parts of some motor car, HSN wise. So there we are challenging it, that we have shown them, see, these are the states. 4 of our employees have lost their lives because of all this depression and mental trauma. So gym is one way of keeping them engaged in the thing and also help.
I do not think that we can take the ratio of Senvat credit
So still
rules
now,
into
now we
GST.
have not got anything favorable. But yeah,
Arun
we
ji,
can. Yes,
pardon me. Can you say that we can apply the Senvat principles here? Because earlier in Senvat, the inputs were more or less correlated to the taxable outward supply of services or the clearance of the excisable goods.
yeah,
Whereas
one-to-one
in
linkage was there.
GST, it is not even okay. It need not be one-to-one, but at least the nexus was to the outward
Yeah,
taxable
yeah,
supplies.
yeah,
Here, it is not at all linked to the supply, but to the business. So
right.
even though the context of ITC in 16.1 is acquiring a larger canvas to which we can apply all the kinds of things we need for business. So
Right.
probably we can expand those judgments which we had in Senvat credit rules and need not be restricted by those.
No, that is right. But see, I'll tell you the argument that is being taken by the revenue is that can you run your business without this gym? So that is their argument. That even before COVID, before 2020, you could run the business without gym. So everything was okay. So why do you need to run the gym right now? So that is the main question. So that
Sir,
is
if
what
that,
we are,
yeah, sir, if that
Because-
is the argument, then
Yeah.
for every expenditure, an argument can be placed, sir. Like why you need a consultant to file GST returns? You can as well file it yourself. So even that
No, but
credit
that
will
is
be
again a
different.
compliance. That is again a compliance. They are saying something which is not directly linked to business. That is the challenge that we are facing. They're saying that just like the example you gave, no, about the temple, I think, no?
Yes, sir.
No, you have not given the example. Say, yeah, right, the maintenance of the road access to the gardens and all or something. So we have a similar matter of a factory who have built a temple also. Right. So there, because of works contract, the works contract expenses are blocked. That is okay. That is not a problem. But we have brought some statues from Thailand and outside India. We have brought some other puja material also. So on those things also, they are, the ITC is being disputed. Though they have taken the ITC and they are fighting against it. So now again there is a challenge there. That why do you need a temple? So I think this furtherance of business, it needs to be debated. Arpitji, what is your view on this? Or any other member who wants to share their view on this?
Arup, I have one no, a
Yeah,
thought.
Yeah, please.
I will take one whatever the type of letter you can call it as, saying that I'm so much impressed when I came to your office, the ambience and everything, and I'm extending my business to you. Okay, ek letter mil gaya. Now, can you
Right.
not say that the client was impressed with my garden, with my monument that brought from Thailand, and because of that, the business is generated? So
Right. Yeah, we can do that.
now, how can an officer deny that this has not contributed to the business?
Yeah, I think this is one good idea to have a supporting corroborative evidence saying that this has played an important role.
Now, they may say that, okay, it is afterthought, whatever. But see, I think it is a beyond jurisdiction question for them to enter into my domain and ask, is it for your business? Anything I'm doing for my business is for my business.
Right.
Who is he to ask?
No, that is precisely the point, that whatever I'm doing, because see, in our case of IT company, the gym, I'm not using the gym basically, or it's for the employees perfectly. So in our case, we are saying that it's purely for business purpose. Though employees are using it, it is helping them. Acha,
But
so Ramandeep ji is
sir,
saying,
I wish to differ from what Venu sir said because of section 155, which clearly says the burden of proof is on the taxpayer to justify that expense, right?
I think that
Right.
letter would be a proof that this is a business expenditure. Moreover, I
value.
was thinking about a scenario where I can demonstrate that I have a lesser employee turnover compared to the other industry. Even in that case, I think this could demonstrate that this is for the business, which has led to an increased profit.
Right.
Ruchi, what I think is that there is a fine line between in the course of furtherance of business, although I have not concluded till now. But in my opinion, whatever is the responsibility of an individual,
Yes.
if it is done by the business, then
Yes.
the business is discharging the liability of that individual. It is not in the course of furtherance of business because it is being given for the benefit of that particular individual. So now the question comes is that whatever expenditure the business is incurring, whether it was liable to be incurred by the individual by himself or whether it was responsibility of the business to incur it. If it was a personal liability of the individual to incur himself, then it becomes one-to-one relation, and somewhere down the line it becomes the part of the perquisites.
Okay.
Now the question comes that whatever expenditure that we have dealt out, whether it was required to be incurred by the individual or it was responsibility of business to provide it. Like food between the office hours. It's a normal course that it is provided by the business, and that's why there is a specific restriction in 17(5)(b).
Right.
Commutation to office and office to bank, it is commonly provided by the business, and that's why there is a restriction in 17(5)(a). So whatever is being provided as part of the common practice by the business, if it is being provided by the business and it is not restricted by 17(5), it is allowed. But wherever it is being provided out of the way by the business, then somewhere down the line, it is part of the perquisites being provided. And businesses are very intelligent.
Yeah.
They are somewhere down the line incorporated in the cost to the company.
Yeah, that is therefore, different.
That is how I can differentiate very vaguely between in the course of furtherance of business and for individual person.
Yeah, I think that is a wonderful way of illustrating that, right? And Ravandip ji is saying that there was an ITC on paintings taken by his clients, which was also disputed. And finally, the Commissioner Appeals allowed it. So we have some good instances where this was given a favorable.
That's like what Venu sir said, that I have decorated the company and for the client. Now it is not for an individual person, so that has to be allowed. I have done a painting like the case which has been cited. It is my responsibility, it is not the responsibility of the individual. So that has to be allowed. That is how I see somewhere down the line. But yes, it has to be allowed on a case-to-case basis, because if some good argument is made wherein it is made to be seen that it was the responsibility of business to incur it, then it might be in the course of furtherance of business. But generally, the thumb rule can be this, in my opinion.
No, for example, here, like the ghee used in the puja or tools used to maintain the garden.
That is responsibility of business. But let's take an example that there is a residential quarter.
Yes.
And in that case, therein the garden is being maintained.
Okay.
Now if we take an example of a society wherein the garden is maintained, it is being maintained by the common contribution of the persons who are residing there. Now, if the company incurs that expenditure.
Here he's put it. Yeah, Sriniji has put it already. Other expenditure in relation to maintenance of staff quarters, gym, recreation, etc.
Now the question comes that if the expenditure being incurred to maintain the personal facilities of the employee, whether that can be said to be in the course of furtherance of business. If we go through how the GST Act has been drafted, somewhere down the line it has to be said that this was the responsibility of the person who was staying there, and if it is not being done, then somewhere the business is incurring the expenditure for the benefit of the employee, wherein the employer-employee relation comes into picture.
Sir, if it is for the benefit of the employees, can we not say that it is for business only, sir?
No, then the employer-employee schedule 3 also has to be seen. Because if we see in the case of canteen facilities, what normally now what is the conclusion of the various AAAs is that since it is being provided as part of the employer-employee benefit, therefore it is not a fresh supply, and ITC has to be reversed. And even if a concessional amount is being received, it would not be treated as supply.
Yes.
Okay.
In case where there is a concessional amount and if it is treated as a separate supply, then will there be an issue regarding where all these ITC or expended towards an exempted supply, or it can be said that it is a part of a common supply?
The view is that since there's an employee-employee relationship and the facilities for food is being provided by way of employer-employee relationship, therefore whatever is being received is not as a supply but a reimbursement of the part of the cost which was incurred due to this relationship.
Yes.
So it is not being the common consensus. I would not be stating a one-off decision, but the common consensus which is now being given by most of the AAARs is that it is not a supply. There might be contrary decisions. I am not negating it, but yes, we can always argue that since it is a part of employee relationship, any amount received is only toward reimbursement. It is not part of a fresh supply being made.
Isn't circular 172 especially on this?
Yes.
So even in case where the assessee himself has treated that particular reimbursement as a separate supply, say he is paying 5% on the canteen, or let's say he is treating this rent received as an exempt supply, or where he is providing some bus service and he is charging a nominal charge like 20% of the amount that he has expended. So, and he is treating this as a supply, and he is say paying tax at that at 20% of the thing. Is in this case, can the particular thing where in case of staff quarters, maintenance of staff quarters, since the assessee has treated it as a separate supply, can it be said that the ITC relating to all the staff quarters is entirely towards the exempt supply, and not a common expenditure of the business?
See, but again, then the question comes that if a concessional rate is being charged, why it is being charged? Then Schedule 1 or Rule 28, the Schedule 1 would not, because the amount is being charged, but then the fair market value concept or most of the other things would come into picture. And but the underlying thing again is that if an amount is not a supply, whether merely taxpayer treating it as supply would make him eligible to charge a tax and then claim a credit. In my opinion, if the underlying transaction is not in the form of supply, merely because I have charged a tax, that would not become entitle me to claim the credit. On the contrary, the department would always contend that the intent of the legislature was that this was not a supply, and that was clarified by the circular as well, 172, that which has been done. Therefore, any tax which has been charged has to be deposited in cash because it was realized in cash, and any ITC claim would not be allowed against that.
Okay. Any other views among the members? Okay, I'm moving to the next topic, where Mrs. Bullion, a trader of gold bullion, has received a notice claiming that ITC on machinery used for making jewelry is liable to be reversed, as she is not in the business of jewelry manufacturing. She has bought the machinery in hopes of venturing into a jewelry making business, and later abandoned it due to the lack of human resources she has. Whether the ITC on the machinery which is abandoned is liable for reversal in terms of section 16(1). So in here, I think most of our view will be that since the intent of when the machinery is purchased is to use for in course of furtherance of business, the assessee is eligible to claim the ITC. In case if the group member has any contrary views, to say that it is not so, or some other better view which can prove this is for in course of furtherance of business? You can kindly share.
Yeah, I already got an exact notice on this. Only thing is, instead of gold jewelry, it was rock breaking machine. So asset purchase for 40 lakhs lying idle because the feasibility for entering into quarry operations could not emerge. The department has proposed reversal, stating that it is no longer meant for business. It was never intended, and you don't have any proof under 155 to prove that you had intention or even used it even in one instance.
So 155, the proof of burden is with us.
That is the present show cause notice. Adjudication is pending. So this is for the quarry operations which couldn't be started and the equipment that we purchased for the quarry.
Uni,
Yes.
if the machine was purchased for quarry and the necessary steps would have been taken to get the license or various things, wouldn't that demonstrate that it is intended for business?
That is what we are going to state. But thing is, they are insisting that that particular item also has to be done. So quarrying has a lot of operations. So you could have done some quarrying activities which does not involve this particular machine. So you could have done just excavation and selling of the aggregates as such, and that would not have involved this machine. So even if you had obtained this license, this particular machines used need not have been put into play. That is the view that they have taken. It's very far-fetched, but since the tax amount is so high, the audit raises para, and they are insisting on documentary evidence on how it is being used.
Now, tomorrow when I sell this machine, would they not want GST on that supply? They would
Definitely
want.
They will.
So if anything which is meant for business and sale, why ITC would also be said that is like output is business, input is not business, would be a strange, is always my thought process.
I agree. We will be challenging this, but the crux of all these notices now we are getting on this not for businesses. They are bringing in 155 and stating that you prove with the documents or other evidences that you had intention.
Okay.
I also have a similar practical matter. Before COVID, we got that bottling water plant, and the investors are from China. Suddenly in 2020, government decides that any investment from landlocked countries of India, they have to come from the approval route, not the automatic route. So finally, our investments don't come, and we are not able to start the bottling plant. At the same time, West Bengal government comes out with a new rule saying that groundwater cannot be extracted because till the next 2 years because of some technical issues. So we didn't get the groundwater permission also. So here also, similarly as Unniji was sharing, in our case also, the audit, and unfortunately, even though they didn't have any turnover, surprisingly audit came, I don't know how. Audit has actually disallowed the ITC, citing these two reasons. That you are not going to get the funds, investments, so you can't start the business. Secondly, if you do not get the groundwater permission at all, how could you say that it is intended for further business? Because for the next 2 years, you cannot start the business. And even it is not sure, because government has said for next 2 years, you will not be allowed. They have not said that after 2 years, it will be allowed. So there also, we are like, Unniji, we are also fighting on the word intended to be used. So again, these are all practical situations we are arriving, which was not envisaged when the law was drafted.
The
Sir,
very fact that
one point for this.
there is a business expenditure for buying the machinery, is that proof that it is intended to use for the business?
Yeah, my argument is that, see, why will I buy a bottling water machinery if I don't want to set up a bottling water plant? I will not buy machinery to get the ITC. I am buying machinery because I wanted to set up the plant. Now, if suddenly government comes up with a new investment regulation or regulation regarding groundwater, I am not at fault, and I'm sure like maybe we'll get our approval route application approved from the government maybe within 25. What we are hoping, because it is taking almost 2 to 3 years to get approved. So we'll get the approval for the investments, and groundwater problem may also be resolved. So maybe we'll start the bottling plant from 25. We don't know. So as on date, since we've not got, how can we say that it is not intended to be for future use? So that is the argument that we are taking, that nobody will buy a machinery worth 2.5 crores just to get the ITC on that, or put security people and cleaning people just for the sake of getting ITC. So that is what their argument is, that you didn't want to start the business, but you have taken the ITC because it is not intended to be used for business purpose.
We are also stating the definition of 217 subclause D, which says
Business,
that
yes.
acquisition of capital goods itself is business.
Yes, exactly.
And sir, one more point to it, like
Yeah, please.
at what point of time should we establish that it is intended to be used for business? Is it at the time of purchase, or as long as the machinery is there, am I responsible to prove that it is used or intended to be used for business? And this question is for the reason that how we have ITC claim in special circumstances, that subsequent events will impact my earlier availed ITC. If my taxable supply becomes exempt supply, or exempt supply becomes taxable supply, composition to regular, regular to composition, or my taxable becomes common. Likewise, we don't have a specific condition or any provision which says that if initially it was used for business and subsequently if it is no longer going to be used for business, ITC reversal is required. There's no specific provision for such a subsequent event. So in absence of any specific provision, there's no provision asking me to reverse the credit which was earlier availed when that particular capital goods was intended to be used for business at the time of purchase. And moreover, Rule 43, which speaks about like how we have Rule 42 business and non-business use. In Rule 43, there's only taxable and exempt supplies. Capital goods being used for non-business use, there's no reversal required as such.
But it is worded where okay, it is, if it is common, it's fine, but it is worded where they are telling we can avail intended to use it for a taxable supply and intend to use for a exempt supply. So there is no such thing where if it is used for personal, then can we okay, this is the case where it is non-supply. Okay, sorry.
Sir, whether will it not, the disclosure in the books of accounts of that machinery, that capital goods as a fixed asset, will it not be the substantial evidence to prove that we are intending to use it in the course or furtherance of business?
So actually, revenue's argument is that capitalization of the asset, it should be substantiated with corroborative evidence saying that yes, you can start the business. As Amandeep ji has wonderfully put, that even failed attempt to do business is also business. So that is also intention to do the business. But they are saying that aapko, yeah,
Arup sir, the point of dispute here is we have to give corroborative evidence of intended to use. So what I am telling you, will it not be the disclosure in the books of accounts as a fixed asset by accounting prudence in the balance sheet? Will it not be the intention that I'm in the course or further in the near future, or there is no fixed time limit is there? So the question dispute is whether how to demonstrate, the burden of proof lies on us to prove that the intention. Okay, so when even in accounting parlance will be telling that acknowledgement of debt, disclosure in books of accounts amounts to acknowledgement of debt. The same analogy can't be applied here, since we have disclosed in our books of accounts as a fixed assets. So will it not be true for substantial proof for proving this intention?
No, see, if I pay the devil's advocate here, if say I speak on behalf of the revenue, their concern is that, see, you have not got approvals, necessary approvals which you need for this particular business. So without getting those approvals, how can you say that you will be operating? That is their argument. But our argument is that, see, why was this entire change brought in, intended to be used in GST law? It was brought to encourage and develop all these research activities. Say, I am doing a research. One of my son's friend, he is doing a research for some NASA organization, NASA-based organization on some robotic elements. So whatever materials they are buying, they are getting the ITC. right?
Yes.
And they don't know when they'll be building this robotics, which is going to do some environment and something related to environment, whatever may be. So there, it was to encourage all these people that you use the capex, use the inputs and input services for doing research, and as and when you establish the business, you can utilize that particular ITC when you are having output tax. So that is our
Okay.
argument, that if the word intended to be used was brought into the statute because of this, and if this doubt is cast on the taxpayer that you have not got the approvals, so that means you don't intend to do the business. Because what Ramandeep ji said,
Yes,
that is
sir.
also really right, nice, that even if I'm failing to do my business.
Yes, sir, that we agree, sir. Then the contention of our Venuji will be holds good, because for avail for 16.1, we cannot call it as in the course or furtherance of business. Then how can we apply section 7? Okay. So at least any prudent businessman, hypothetically, if he is not able to get, we will presume like this, sir. They will,
Right, that's what I said. Yeah, why will somebody buy a machinery for ITC?
I'm
no
just
longer.
interrupting everyone. Sorry, it's 9:57.
Yes.
Just a reminder to the speaker.
Right, yeah, back to the speaker, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Sriniji, over to you for your concluding remarks.
Yes, sir. I'm of the view that the very reason that I have purchased such item and I have kept for usage, it itself says that it itself is a proof that I have intent to use such item, and as discussed, when I am selling this product, this is going to sell. When I resell this machinery, this is going to be taxed, telling that it is for the purpose of business. Hence, even the purchase relating to it, this also should be the purpose of business as well. And that's my view, sir. And with this note, I'm concluding today's session as the time has reached.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Sriniji. And yeah, over to Arpitji. Yeah, when you want to say something? Yeah.
Yeah, it is not conclusion of this chapter. It is only today's session. So
Yes.
friends will continue the discussions.
Yes.
RPG, over to you.
To you for the vote of thanks.
Oh, thank you, Ruchi, and thank you very much for today's session. And we are more moving towards the practical aspects of the sections, and that is the most heartening thing to see, that we are discussing practical situations which we can relate on a day-to-day practice. As is seen from the case study 3, it was seen that it is a gone case that the ITC should be allowed, but Uni Krishnanji just through the thing that he has received a notice on the same aspect. So thank you very much to the speaker for sparing the time and making the case studies which are practical and which we are facing on a day-to-day basis, and all the thoughts which are being shared across by all the members. It's heartening to see, and somewhere down the line we are moving ahead and trying to form the various aspects to see a particular situation. So looking forward to the continued association of all the members, and more not as a listener but also as a speaker. Request you all to come forward and take the topic. So therefore we can move ahead and conclude the objective which we have to cover all the sections in the GST, although it's a long road ahead. But journey well begun is half the work done. So thank you very much all for the association, and looking forward to the next session.
Yes.
Thank you, Arpitji. Thank you, Sriniji. Thank you, everyone, for joining. So,
Thank you.
So we'll conclude on time today at 10, and looking forward to next SMS on next Saturday, 9 a.m. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful weekend ahead.
Thanks.